Hello people, today I would like to speak about x299 on air and especially about the BIOS, which has a, let's say, surprise. And this surprise is if you, let's say, start benching it when you have bi-core settings, it's fairly okay. As you can see, we've gained a lot, about 3,000 points, so over 40%. Great. But there's a catch to bi-core usage, and this catch is very important, and you should to remember at this specific 33203 BIOS. I don't know if it's on the later ones. There's a catch, and this catch is you can burn your CPU with this option when you are not very precise. What I mean is this: we will turn it once again, and I will input bi-core usage again, but with a flaw. And this flaw is not to set up how big multiplier is for all of the cores. It should be obvious that probably I wanted to go default, maybe, or like the cores that I at most said that it would be, but no. Listen here and look carefully. We have Asus multi-core enhancement disabled. We have AVX instructions ratio negative offset by -2. AVX 512 instructions -3. We have CPU usage by CPU core ratio by core usage. By core usage settings are those. But now let me input, let's say, failure, because this is like there's no fail safe. Okay, I will input here 16, so 3300 and only 16 cores. But the first core, one core usage is 48. No multi-core enhancement. F10, enter. We are on Noctua, and this Noctua is on liquid metal. So it is getting, which it should, so it is getting hot and it is boiling the fluid inside and all the stuff really nicely. But when I did that, and this is not the first time, but now I know where was the catch and what was the problem, because I'm testing it for a few hours now. And now I see that if you just input the not full amount of cores in bi-core usage, you will be left with single core multiplier. And as you may know, 4.8 GHz on 18 core monster with air cooling is a little bit scary. So right now, let's do the bench. And look at this. The CPU is trying to maintain 4.8 GHz on air cooling, but we had the per core usage, yeah we had, but what's the matter? Nothing. So if you bench it, you will see that it's getting up to 4.8 gigahertz. And as this test is quick and swift, it is not getting there with very big problems. But if you will do a test like eager counter, I will not do the big one, but let us do quick one. Let's say option 6. It's 4.5, and you see now we have all red. So I will turn it off because I like CPUs and I don't like to break them. But as you can see, it did -3 in AVX, but right then we already had 102 degrees. Why? Because for 18 cores we said we wanted 4.3 gigahertz minus 3 multipliers, and we ought to see here totally different numbers. But we see that on all cores it is trying to maintain 4.8 gigahertz, and with AVX we are having different numbers. Well, but let us get back swiftly and insert the multiplier for all cores. And we have 18 cores, and we need multiplier for all 18 cores. Okay, so now we're starting the apps. Okay. Now look at this. 151, 170 at the end. 4.3 gigahertz for all 18 cores. Even better score because CPU input voltage was able to uphold it. And test stability. And as we are having it here, and it is very demanding test, we can see that at 4 gigahertz, which for this CPU is 3 gigahertz at stock settings for AVX 512, Here we are having on liquid metal about 70 degrees, with jumps to 90 when it starts with AVX and drops. But this, for a CPU like this, is bearable and usable. And you will not burn your CPU in short, let's say, cycles like this. I wouldn't recommend, of course, using this kind of profile for 24/7 usage with only single fan on Noctua, as it is here, but this will probably not destroy your CPU, as the CPU is getting hotter and hotter in, let's say, longer amount of time. The sensor of shutting down the CPU has much more time to go, and the shutdown will be, and for first, probably there will be throttling for the first thing, and then it might shut down, but it will shut down due to overheating while throttling and lowering voltages. So you will not damage your cores because you were lowering voltage. The worst thing that is happening to CPUs and to the cores is when you are having high voltage and very high temperature. So this is the worst thing. But when you are throttling and the CPU has time for it, yeah, okay, it is not too good. But I've seen PCs that I was repairing that were probably working like 2 years in throttling and they were okay. So yeah, look out for this option. Remember, by core usage you have to state on Asus x299 Sage, you have to state what's the multiplier for all the cores. Thank you for your attention. Have a nice day, nice evening, whatever. Ciao.